Hello students, this video will just go over the steps for how to add textures to a digital painting. Whether you are in digital art class or you are in 10th grade art, everybody right now is working on a digital painting of some sort. So I do hope to show 3 different ways of creating texture today. So I have this picture of a flower and I've created an outline, and then I put colors on a separate layer. So that no matter what you do, you always want to create another layer and call it texture. And then you want to place that texture layer in between. It looks like I renamed the wrong layer here. Texture. You want to place the texture layer in between the outline and the color so that it's kind of all overlapping the sandwich, but the textures goes over the color and then the outline goes over that. And the reason we do that is so that, for one, it doesn't look like a blob of color, and then 2, if we mess up at any one step, you can always just erase and just fix your texture without messing up your colors or your outline. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of just sample this pink, and with a big brush put a pink dot over that so I can show you how to do leaf or feather textures. I'm also going to sample this green to show you how to do sort of rougher textures, and then I'll use a different artwork to show you how to do stuff like animal hair and those kind of sketchier textures. So with this artwork, if I look at the flower, let me turn color layer down, there's kind of like a lot of textures going on in the petals, but what it is really is this smooth blend of 2 or 3 different shades of pink. And you probably, if you follow the instructions properly, you picked a pink that was kind of in the middle, which is exactly what you want to do. So now when I'm going over this, I'm going to start to blend and fade in some lighter pink and some darker pink in each petal. And so what I'm going to start with doing is I'm going to use the blend brush, which is next to the hard brush. And now the blender brush has a few features. A blending will, depending on whether it's up at 100, it will blend your 2 colors together. So whatever the top color is and the bottom color, it will blend the 2 together. So right now I have blending turned up to a 100. So even though I have a very dark color selected, it's really just blending the color underneath it. So I don't really want blending at 100. I kind of want it closer down to like 45 or 50, so that way it's using more of the whatever color I'm trying to add into it. So let me now just backtrack back. Actually, you know what? I'll just delete that circle. Whoa, too big. And start over with a kind of medium dot. So now with the blender, I'm going to set my blending to kind of like, we'll do 75. I'm going to pick a light color on my photo with my photo layer turned up to 100. And now I'll show you kind of what it does here. It's kind of going to take a little light and it's going to blend it over the light pink that's underneath it. So I can use that to kind of blend in softly some little bit of color. And it takes the color underneath and the color that's on top and blends the 2 together. If it's like making too dramatic of a change with one click, you just turn opacity down lower, and then that way you can kind of build up your shading by just doing click, 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 like little tiny clicks. And then you can gradually start to pick a medium color and click, 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 click. And then you kind of pick a dark color and do it on the top with like little tiny clicks. And I'm kind of just making it gradually darker, darker, darker. The only thing that will happen if you do it the way that I just did it is you're going to end up with this kind of glowy edge. So I do need to then take an eraser brush and kind of erase around it. However, if I know that I'm going to blend a lot, what I can do is I can turn on this feature called Lock Alpha. And what Lock Alpha will do is it'll only focus my clicks on whatever I've already colored in. It will just keep to there. So I could just have lock alpha on, pardon me, oy, get out of here, close, and just gradually build up lighter, and then pick up some of these mediums, and then pick up some of these darks, and it's only, even if I go over the lines, it's going to kind of focus. If I go too far past it, I'm going to just go in again and pick up a medium. So that is how you would create kind of a smooth shade. And let me just kind of make it exaggerated even more and pick kind of just white and just fade in some white here. And then I'll pick the medium and kind of fade back in the medium. So I've created kind of a smooth blend from dark to medium to light. So that's smooth textures. I do now want to demonstrate how to do rough textures. So the other texture brush that I have shown in class is this brush here, hidden underneath the pen tool, called chalk. And now the way chalk works is it kind of has this rough pattern built into it, and it's semi-random. Like it doesn't stay the same exact pattern each time. And I do like, the way I like to work with chalk is I turn it down a little bit. And if this is my green, I'll choose that green, but then I'll just make it a little darker. And I'll kind of layer some of that dark green over it with like little clicks. And then again, if I turn lock alpha on, it'll focus that green only on what I'm painting. So now I'll kind of do a few dark, a few light, and I'm kind of just gradually building it up. The other thing about chalk is if I turn the size way down, like say I'm trying to do like veins or something like that, I'll pick the dark green here, and I'll do kind of make it a little darker here so we see. It does create kind of a soft edge, sort of like an airbrush. But let me just kind of show you off to the side. If you drag it around a little too much, it doesn't really show the chalk after a certain point. It does get kind of filled up really quick. So I do like to do it more as kind of like a series of little taps. Or if you are going to do strokes, turn it light so that you can kind of build up your strokes slowly to kind of create that texture. So that is a rough texture. This is a smooth texture. Looking at this leaf, it's mostly smooth, but there are a few little sketchy lines. If you're in my class for digital art, you maybe have chosen an animal for your painting. So I do want to kind of also show you how I would do that with an animal like an owl or my reindeer that I've been slowly working on. So for animals, they have like, obviously this guy's got a lot of hair, and the hair is made up of a bunch of different shades of this brown. There's light, there's medium, there's dark. So I decided to then just fill my reindeer with a solid brown. First, let me make a new layer and call it texture. And with a hard brush, click. So I'm going to then work on creating some of these soft, furry textures. To do that, I'm going to use the sketchy brush. And the sketchy brush works kind of like blending, kind of like the blender, but it has more of a rough texture to it. So it does kind of have a more of a tapered line. And it doesn't have the ability to lock alpha, which is actually fine for hair. So I'm going to then just start to make little brush strokes. And depending on whether I'm making little hairs or bigger hairs, I'm going to turn blending like way up. And you can see that it almost is like super minimal. It's just blending mainly with the color at the bottom. So you do want to kind of keep blending down towards the medium to low end. So I'm doing like little strokes, little flicks of my wrist to create hairs, and then I can pick kind of lighter colors to layer over it and pick some more browns, and kind of build up my hair from just doing little tiny clicks. Now, it is a very methodical process, so you do kind of you want to just do like layer of clicks and then pick a darker color, layer of clicks. So don't spend too much time trying to be like every hair has to be exactly perfect. It's okay if it's a little bit random. If you're doing kind of like feathers, maybe you do kind of like one line in the middle and then you do like a suggestion of the feather, and then you pick a lighter shade to do kind of like the pattern of the feathers a little bit. I'm just kind of suggesting some ideas. But the key is you don't use the same brown for everything. You want to start to look at what are the many different textures or different shades of brown or beige or gray or red within your animal to create that texture. So that is 3 ways between fur, using the sketchy brush, blending to create soft fades. And now again, like if I want to I could also fade this to create soft transitions. I could do blending first and then layer over a rough texture. Maybe you do just one, just the other. But the goal is that you have some texture in your artwork. So that's the blendy, the sketchy brush, and then we also looked at ways to use the hard brush to create a more of a rough, chalky texture. But again, that's made using mainly clicks and click and move, click and move. So that is it. Please try to get some sort of color and texture into your artwork before we leave for the Christmas break, so that when we come back in digital art, we'll work on turning these into seamless patterns. In 10th grade, we'll just work on adding a background. That is it for me. Hope everybody is safe and well, and have a great day.